Podcasting this week, our man, Andrew Fischer.
Daniel, this has been one of the hardest interviews I have ever had to schedule. My boy, I can go watch him hit bombs on any given night, but to get him on here has been work. But I tell you, we're glad to finally do it. Andrew, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, man. First thing I got to know, you're in Knoxville. Did you go to the football opener?
Oh, 100%. It was awesome. Great experience.
Yeah, I mean, Neyland, the running through the power tee, I've only seen it on TV, but every Tennessee guest we've had, no matter the sport, they've talked about it. They just talk about how electric it is. So I knew you had to have taken in and enjoyed it. So that's what's up. I'm gonna be out there, I think, in a few weeks. But how good did they look, man?
They look sharp. Definitely. Their offense was rolling. So I think we're gonna be able to give some of these teams a run for their money.
Yeah, I mean, look better than my LSU team. We ain't gonna spend too much time talking about it, but it was a sad Sunday to say the least. But talking about watching games, cheering, got to go to a Grizzlies game with you. Obviously, you were big into the cheering for them. I gotta know, man. I don't know if you're aware of this being new to Knoxville, but people in East Tennessee don't like anything West Tennessee, and vice versa. Like it's actually kind of wrong for me to root for Tennessee the way I do. So I got to know, man, are you going to still root for the Grizzlies over there?
Don't end this interview early, Andrew.
To be honest with you, I've never really been like a big NBA guy. It was just kind of what was close. So, whenever we'd get a free night here or there, get a couple of the guys together just to go and, just kind of get our minds off baseball, which is obviously consuming our lives. So, not a huge NBA fan in general, just happened to be in that area while, our paths crossed, and then it worked out. We were at the game and whatever else. So,
Ja will be sad to hear that you weren't, really
yeah.
a fan. But I do got to know, because that night you were trying to lie to everyone and say that, you thought you could have a decent game. Do you still think you can play basketball, or are you done with that lie?
No, definitely can't.
I heard that. So, speaking of things, continuing the vibe, things to do, there are a lot of concerts your way. If you could see any musical artist, they were coming in town, they were going to play in Neyland. What musician would you see?
I've yet to see Morgan Wallen. I know he's coming in town soon here. So I'm excited. I think a bunch of the guys are going to get to go. I'm not sure if they have anything special planned or not, but there's been a lot of talks of us going there, so I'm excited for that.
Daniel, I don't know if you've seen the ticket prices for this thing, but I hope they're going to do something for these college students who, it is unreal. Like, how do they expect, Daniel, for college students to come up with $1,000 to go to a country concert, man?
Well, this is perfect. Didn't Post Malone and Morgan Wallen just come out with a song called "I Had Some Help"? That's it. They're gonna have some help. Morgan Wallen, you're gonna have to come down on these ticket prices, bro. You got folks like Post Malone, like y'all need
Folks
to.
gonna be lined up at the blood bank trying to get that money to get to that concert. I'm telling you.
You're right. You're right. I mean, you hear? I mean, who wouldn't want to pay $1,000 for this?
Oh, now he's trolling, Andrew. He is not a Morgan Wallen guy, for the simple fact that 9 out of every 10 guests come on here and say that's who they'd go see. So at this point, the last person Daniel would want to go see is Morgan Wallen. But you know what? With that, Daniel, as many guests as we've asked that, I've never asked you, if you could go see somebody, who would it be?
Oh man, this is good. I missed out on an opportunity to see Incubus tonight, but I've seen them before. Seen Foo Fighters many a time. Oh man, who would I go see?
3-6 Mafia.
I've seen them before. I think it would have to be Come Back to Me, because
Come Back to You. You weren't ready. Yeah, you like that.
I wasn't ready. You're right.
I got one more question for Andrew. We'll get into a story. This is the most important question. I mean, forget music, forget football, all that stuff. I love baseball movies. Who doesn't? There's a million of them. What is your favorite baseball movie, Andrew?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's so many good ones out there. I mean, you could always go with the classic Sandlot. That's always a good one. Rookie of the Year is pretty good. I don't know. What would you go with?
I mean, Sandlot is what I say. It's a typical answer. Daniel is big on Major League. Our other host of our other show, he actually can't stand Rookie of the Year because he's from Chicago, and he hates that people talk about Rookie of the Year as a better baseball movie than Hardball, because he says Hardball is real life, whereas Rookie of the Year is this fantasy story of a kid slipping and falling, and all of a sudden he can throw 100 miles an hour. But that's
Right.
the reason I like it, right? Like, I mean, every kid all of a sudden find themselves wanting to break their arm. It's the wildest phenomenon.
I mean, did we not have a guest from University of Tennessee that kind of had the same thing?
I mean,
Didn't Xander fall off the changing table, broke his arm, learn how to pitch, learn how to operate using the left arm,
yeah,
and
I don't even know if Andrew's aware of that. And what's funny is what's lost in that story is, his mom should, and I love Miss Flory. She's a nice woman, but she should possibly be locked up. It's
Hey,
I
sorry, my phone cut out.
no,
it's
you
it's it's all good. You know, we got the producer at the helm. He's gonna edit and mix and match.
No, man, I'm letting it ride because we just threw Xander and his mama under the bus while Andrew was gone. But basically, what he said, Andrew, is we had a similar real life story. Xander broke his arm as a baby, and thus that's how he became left handed. If you weren't aware, so we've had freak accidents create amazing athletes. He's now pitching in the minors, so you just never know, but. I do have a question kind of correlating. Have you seen the movie Little Big League?
I don't know. I
It's
don't
the one
remember.
where the kid becomes the owner of the Twins and then he coaches them.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, well, the reason I asked is we've been having this discussion, so I'm curious what your thought process was. In the movie, the villain was Ken Griffey Jr. He's at the time in which he was the top of his game. He was in the movie. He was hitting home runs. He was robbing home runs. He actually ends the movie, making a big play. Don't want any spoilers, but who do you think from Major League Baseball would be the perfect guy to play like the villain that would be opposite of this kid and his like magical story? Like, I say Aaron Judge, but I'm told that he's very likable, but he is a Yankee. Who would it be for you?
The villain. I think back in the day, like Yasiel Puig, never was a big fan of him. Uh, I don't know. To be honest, like maybe someone on the Red Sox. I'm a Yankee fan, so
There you go. So it definitely isn't going to be Judge for you. There you go.
It's Altuve. I'm telling you, man. That's
yeah, it might
the
be
smallest
Altuve.
guy on the field.
everybody hates that dude. I mean, I can see why. All right, Andrew, man, let's get into it, man. Let's get to the story. All right, we gotta know, where's home for you?
Jersey Shore, Manasquan, New Jersey.
Jersey Shore.
Yeah,
All
right
right.
here, Manasquan.
All right. So let's talk a little bit. Obviously, the Jersey Shore crew is still rocking things these days. They were hot and heavy when Jim and I were growing up, but the big thing is the Jersey Shore exactly the way it's depicted on TV, or is it something totally different?
I think why I like it is because there's a nice mix. You can find quiet places. There's some relaxing places. There's a bunch of other exciting places to go. Like you can go to you can, depending on whatever beach you go to, you can get a rowdy crowd, or you can get a very relaxed, mellow crowd. There's some very, very nice areas, like some big residential areas. Then there's also some not nice areas. You get all the seasons. You get summer, spring, winter, fall. You get a mix of it, literally everything. And there's obviously so much to do. You're only a couple hours from the city. You're a couple hours from Philly. You have Atlantic City, which when you get older, that's a big destination spot for a lot of people.
Dang, he said when you get older, I feel like that's where I'd be. So he just solidified I'm
I think
old.
I think what he means is when you turn 21, like you've been able to
He made it sound like
imbibe
when I
on.
get in my 60s, I'm hitting Atlantic City.
I mean,
No,
you're
I
in your
mean,
40s now.
within
That's what he meant. He meant
from
35 and plus.
I would say from my house,
There's probably 5 or 6 airports within an hour and a half radius of me. It's a very populated area, so there's always a lot going on.
And Daniel, I tell you, I'm excited that he's on here because I don't know how, but we've had he makes 406 guests. I think he's maybe only the second one, and the only other person that was from Jersey only lived there for a very short time, so they didn't even have anything. So, the fact that you asked that question, I got to thinking about it, man. We've never had a guest that was home.
Look, man, if you were in Tampa or if you coached at the University of Tampa, for whatever reason, Jersey's a hotbed. Like people just flock down here. Jersey, Boston, you name it. Like the whole Northeast is like people want to get away. They want to come to the beach. So you get a
I'm
lot of
definitely a
influx
Jersey
there.
boy. I want to live there when I'm older.
I don't know. I love home, and I think being in college gives me a taste. A bunch of different spots now, obviously Durham, Oxford, and now here in Knoxville. You get your college town, you get a city, you get everything else in between, and just getting to experience everything. I definitely think home for me is going to still be at the Jersey Shore when I'm older.
I don't blame you, man. Home is home. Home is where you make it. Just remember that.
All right, Daniel, if that's the case, you can come back to Memphis whenever you're ready. I missed you, bro.
Hey, there's nothing there for me. Trust me.
So I'm not here for you. I got you. Okay.
Other than the Grizz and the Tigers, there's
I'm
nothing
in
there for
he
me.
talks about being a couple hours from everything. I'm a couple hours from like every SEC baseball spot, bro. This is why I can go everywhere. You come here, we go watch baseball every weekend. It's very simple. We can go to Knoxville and watch Andrew hit bombs.
True that. Andrew, so obviously growing up on the shore, you got family, you got brothers, you got sisters, you got mom and dad. What's the house look like?
My family's extremely tightly knit. We're very close, both my mom's side and my dad's side of the family. And it works out like really well. My grandparents don't live far. And my cousins and my aunts, my uncles are all really close. So I get a chance to spend a lot of time with my family, and it's like extremely important to me to get to see them, spend quality time with them. And I think a lot of my close friends fall in that same category. I keep my friends really close to me from back home. They're important to me, and anytime I get a chance to see them is definitely important to me. So.
Speaking of important, who's the most important? Who's the most influential person you had growing up? I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily getting you into sports and stuff like that, but just the person that you look for advice to just be the man you are.
Yeah, I would say probably my dad.
He's definitely been someone my whole life. I guess at this point I could just say he's kind of showed me the ropes, through a whole bunch of different stages of my life. He's kind of stopped his world that, what it involves in his world to, kind of now revolve it around me since I've been in his life. So my mom, she works really, really long days, and my dad's a teacher, so I would, when I was younger, get a lot of time over the summer with my dad. And so now, like, obviously I'm really close with both of them, like I said, since we're really, really tightly knit. And obviously love my mom too, like super close with her as well. But I would say definitely growing up, my dad has been one of my biggest supporters.
So Daniel, he says dad's a teacher, so it's been a while. We've been talking about these athletes who've come from this lineage of famous athletes, and it's like, can you just share some of the talent? So the first time in a long time, Daniel, we got somebody who didn't have a dad who played in the MLB and just passed it down to him so he can play in the MLB.
Watch, Andrew's gonna be like, yeah, he played a year of pro ball and then got hurt and decided he wanted to teach. Like that's what I feel like is coming.
My dad wrestled Division One.
Yeah. See, there it is.
Yeah, he wrestled.
That explains where he got that man hand grip. He's got Daniel. I tell you, I've shook a lot of hands in college baseball. That's the strongest grip right there.
Yeah,
I would say growing up, I went to all my dad's matches. I mean, I'm sure one of his wrestlers is going to end up coming across this video at some point, and they'll probably chuckle when I say this, but I literally could name the year. I could probably name you any guy on the team. My dad has been a high school coach for the longest time, so growing up, I went to all the matches. I knew all their stats. I know how many wins they have, what they did in the state tournament. I was just that little kid that just would go to the mat and roll around with the guys and just be happy to be there. And then um, middle school came a little bit before that. Started wrestling a little bit, and then now went to high school. My dad was the coach there, so freshman year wrestled for my dad.
What high school?
Wall Township High School. But it was
All
like
right.
Super cool. Like I said, like my dad has kind of moved his world around to, you know, see me play ball, you know, whatever that may be. Um, you know, his passion is in wrestling, and he never really pushed it on me. You know, he's been supportive of me playing baseball, and um, it's kind of funny. Like I'm in love with wrestling. You know, if I could be as good of a wrestler as you know, half of one of his best guys on the team, you know, I'd take it. So just not it was never really ended up being my sport. You know, I love to work hard, and I think a lot of traits from wrestling kind of instilled in me and helped me with baseball, but you know, it never really clicked. Obviously, it'd be a dream of a moment to go out there and, you know, win a state championship under my dad's coaching, but just never really worked out.
Taught you the work ethic though, man, and that's valuable.
Yeah.
no,
I
100%.
also think like just having the opportunity, like you don't even necessarily have to win a national championship, but or a state championship, but to be able to get older and say your dad was your coach, I think something is to be said about that. Because there's a lot of athletes that come on and they talk about their dad was their coach and it made a difference. And there's some people who come on and go, yeah, my dad was my little league coach, but like I needed a different coach just because, like, you know how it is when you don't believe your parents, you need somebody else
Right.
telling you the same thing. So,
So I
but
think what gained a lot of respect for me,
Aside from him just being my dad, like I said, since I was born into this world, he's went out of his way to make sure baseball is a priority in his life too, just as much as I love baseball. You know, he'd go out there and try and help coaching in little league or help coach a travel team. But it got to a point where he was like, "All right, I need to take a step back because I'm not gonna like coach you on something that I don't know." Like he wouldn't go out there and tell me like, "Hey, you know, your fielding is, you know, not good because of X, Y, and Z," or "Hey, here hitting wise, this is why you're struggling. Let me help you with your mechanics." So like I gained a lot of respect for him, kind of knowing when to bite his tongue. He wants to see me succeed, but he doesn't actually know how to help me through baseball. But then I'd go wrestle, and he would have that knowledge, and I'd see a different side of him. Pull me aside, like, hey, you know, this is where we can get better. This is where we can win a match. You know, this is where we're gonna, you know, help get your cardio better, whatever it may be. So to be able to see him go between two sports and be able to press forward with the actual like nitty gritty of the coaching mechanics and everything else that comes with wrestling or whatever it may be, but then pull back on another sport at the same time because he's able to say to me like, "Hey, I don't have the knowledge to take you to where you want to go in this sport."
well, that's big for him to realize that. But I think, you know, on a different level, there's a lot of similarities that wrestling and baseball, especially as a hitter, because it is a one-on-one between you and the pitcher on you know every at bat. And so when you're in a game of failures like baseball is, it's nice to have your dad, somebody who's like, all right, like you mentally, like I can help you mentally because the
right?
challenges are both in and of the same. But whatever the case was, the influence worked because you earned in 2021 and 2022 all division, all shore, and all state during your junior and senior seasons. You were selected in 2021 and 2022 for the New Jersey All-Star Game and Carpenter Cup as junior and a senior. We don't get many guys from New Jersey, like Jim was saying, But what is the high school baseball talent like in the Shore?
Yeah, I would say
the talent is definitely deeper than you would expect, it being a northern state. But I would say specifically the Shore Conference is where you see a lot of your talent. Obviously, you'll get your guys like Volpe or Leiter going through Del Barton or Bosco or any of these other prep schools, which is all over the country. You know, Florida, Texas. You get a big prep school, bunch of guys will come in. But if you're talking about a lot of the public schools, a lot of the talent is in the Shore Conference. So, I've definitely run into some pretty dang good arms through my time. Shane Panzini, a couple other guys. Zach Crotchwell is obviously a really good arm. Cam Leiter's really good. And there's many, many more. But I would say in a given year, there's probably 6 to 8 really, really dominant arms and 6 to 8 really, really dominant bats. And then you're probably looking at 6 to 7 like college baseball players, uh, probably 3 to 4 Division 1 or Division 3 guys playing on a team in the Shore Conference. So,
Well, whatever the ratio was, you were in the right percentage because you had Duke reaching out to you. So, when did you start getting recruited, and why did you inevitably choose Duke?
yeah. So I was saying earlier,
my mom, she works like pretty long days. I'm gonna grab some water, but she works at Princeton University, and
That's a pretty good school, so I heard.
yeah, it's pretty good. But so, anyways, when I was going through the recruiting process, like, and obviously my dad being a teacher, they would both, express to me how important academics were. So, a bunch of schools reaching out, as you can imagine, the best of both worlds there with baseball in the ACC and academics leaves you with Duke. I didn't have a crazy amount of schools reaching out because of COVID. COVID kind of threw a monkey wrench in the whole recruiting process. You can't go to camps, you're unable to attend whatever showcases because of whatever reasons at the time. So ultimately left me with Duke. Not a bad option. Went there, and it was awesome. Great freshman year. Wouldn't take it back.
Yeah, and the first thing I gotta ask, man, everything we've ever heard, and we have had a couple Duke guests on, not in baseball, but nonetheless, the academics is what I'm going to ask about. They have talked about how rigorous the academics are there. Is it as hard, academically as they've made it out to be?
yeah. So
It depends. It's what you make of it, right? So you go there and you choose to go there. All right, I'm going to go there to play baseball, but yeah, I'm choosing this because of academics as well, right? So when you go in there, if you're going there wanting to make your schedule difficult, it will be very, very difficult. If you go in there and you take whatever classes that you want to make it a breeze, it will be more of a lighter schedule. But I would say a lot of the times the freshmen take your core classes. You're going to take psychology, you're going to take a chemistry class, you're going to take an econ class, a lot of your basic staple courses through college as your first year student. You're going to take a language, Spanish or something, and definitely can get rigorous. So I definitely spent a lot of time, going the extra mile. And obviously, my family holds me to a high standard. So, coming home with a C is not going to cut it.
Could
So,
you imagine Andrew going to his mom and being like, "Oh, my schedule is so hard." She would just laugh in your face. She'd be like,
As long
"Get
as he
outta here."
doesn't, as long as he doesn't pull a Hayden Leatherwood, I feel like he's
I
out of
mean,
he's out of
hey,
baseball now, Daniel. I feel like we can go
you
there.
can say that now.
Yeah, it's 3 years ago, but Andrew, our dear guy, Hayden Leatherwood for Ole Miss, he's got a national championship. He's got something he can hang over his head. But the one thing that he doesn't have that doesn't look well, he came on here and said, he went to Vanderbilt and thought he was actually going to get away with just having to play baseball and not have to do academics just like he did in high school. And I don't think you'll be surprised to know that he didn't even make it to the end of fall ball before he was exiting campus, Andrew. So, yeah, Vanderbilt, Duke, schools like that, if you're not ready to study, you're not going to make it. So it was just interesting that he actually believed that. But hey, we'll give Hayden a pass. But in your time there, man, you said you have no regrets, and man, you did extremely well. Played in 47 games, started in 45, named as a perfect game second team freshman All American, became the sixth player in program history to be named to All ACC freshman team. Broke the single season home run record with 11. So man, seemed to have some real success. So you ultimately would hit the transfer portal. So having success, is it did you want to go to the SEC? What was it about it that made you want to choose, to exit Duke?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of factors that played into it. As you can imagine, you just talked about alone, like the schoolwork. When you're doing, 20 to 25 hours a week of extra schoolwork, of studying and tutoring and meeting with study groups and whatever it may be, it definitely takes time away from you getting to hone in on your craft, right? So being a northern kid, your season really is okay. Maybe you start March 1st, but you're really not playing real baseball until April. April 1 maybe is your first game, and then your season's done by like May 30th. So like you really only play for 2 seasons, and then if you're on a travel team, you play for a little bit through the summer, depending on what tournaments you can make it down to in Georgia or wherever that may be. Outside of that, like your season is not very long. So my exposure to getting reps and everything I needed to play at the highest level was very minimal because I was a northern boy. So go down to Duke, spend a ton of time, and I watched a lot of the guys spend more time than I did in the facility, getting extra lifts in, getting there earlier for early work and staying later for late work, where maybe that load of schoolwork and whatever else was kind of holding back my time and management to really hone in on my craft. So in order to take me to where I want to be, which obviously is to get drafted super high, whatever else, but ultimately be a big leaguer, I think I need to spend a lot more time hitting in the cage, taking ground balls, getting as many reps as possible to be the best I can be. So with that all being said, like it makes a lot more sense for me to lighten my load academically and spend all that extra time doing whatever it may be to get better at baseball. So
Yeah, no,
that's just
it's
like one main factor.
to me, it's a very mature understanding, Daniel. I mean, he understands what he wants to do. He understands, how talented he is when it comes to baseball, and he has what it takes to go to the pro level. But he needs to be able to. He's putting in the time, and what you said, we've talked about on here plenty. We have the Wake Forest guys, make jokes about how they actually have to go to the class while the SEC guys don't, but the reality is that it's true. The classes are a lot harder. The workload's a lot harder at Wake Forest, just like it was Duke. And some guys thrive on that, and so, some would rather not. And so, but for me, I just, I watched you play this year at Ole Miss, and I know that you're an SEC caliber player. And so I feel like it was the right thing for you to do. So ultimately, I know coming out of Duke, you had options. So what about Ole Miss made it the destination for you?
Yeah, so at that point, you look at Duke versus Ole Miss, with the importance at this point to get to a place where you can spend more time um, on the field and getting more work in, you want to go to a place that has the best facilities that you're going to work out in. So you're going to go play every single day in front of 12,000 people. You're going to go play in five-star facilities, with all the best equipment, some of the best coaches in the country, one of the best fan bases out there, and you're going to play in the SEC. And that's where exactly you want to be. You want to test your limits. Hey, I'm going to the highest level of baseball at my age that I could currently play at. That's not professionally. And I'm going to go to this conference, and I'm going to take that, 20 hours a week that I've been putting in academically, extra into baseball in these facilities and see where it can take me.
And I'll vouch for that because I have done the facilities tour for the majority of the SEC schools, and Ole Miss is absolutely legit. Obviously, they redid that weight room, even down to y'all's lounge in your kitchen. Everything is really nice, and you get to come after they win a national championship where they start adding on stuff, because just like any other school, you win a national championship, you start getting nicer stuff. So you were going to like you said, nicer facilities. And so I don't think it's a bad option. And you're going to, somewhere, like you said, with coaches who just won that national championship, that you're going to be able to work under. So I really do like your choice. And, obviously, as we talk to it, we know that it's not necessarily going to work out, but you thrived. And I got the luxury, I made the joke about the Grizzlies game, but I got to see you, whether it was the Grizzlies game, I got to see you on IG Live with you and Luke in Hawaii when you arrived there. Man, I got to see you in the day game when all the kids got out of school and you hit them a bomb, and even got the 3 home run South Carolina game. Like, you had a lot of good memories in your time at Ole Miss. And I thought it was pretty good because for a season that, just didn't go well for Ole Miss, to see you thrive on the field, to see you thrive socially, because, I got to see you and Luke and the guys and bond and everything. And so I really feel like, man, you maximized what you were able to get in your year at Ole Miss. Am I wrong?
No, for sure. I mean, I loved it there, and like I said, no regrets. I would never take it back for anything. I've met some of my best friends for life, and I mean, those coaches over there are amazing people. I
The
love
first
it.
thing I
So,
did was message Luke and asked if he was going to try to follow you, because I couldn't, the way I saw y'all together all the time, I couldn't imagine y'all separating.
yeah, he's one of my best friends, and I don't think anything ever will change between us at all. But one thing I want to say though about going from Duke to Ole Miss into the SEC, some things I realized when I was playing at Duke was when we would play on the road, the feelings I would get on the road were like so different than I would get when we would play at home. At home we're playing in front of 150 to 300 people playing on campus or at the Durham Bulls Park. And then we go play at Clemson in front of 8,000 people, and you have chills, the hair on your arm standing up. You're going to play UNC at UNC. You're going to play at Miami. You're playing at all these different places where they're packing out the stadiums. And
Well, because
so
y'all didn't play in the library at Duke. If y'all played in the library at Duke, y'all have sold out.
yeah, yeah, I know. But so like I think the energy and like the anticipation and just the excitement of playing in those games, like that mimics the biggest stage. Like I want to play in front of people where, I don't want to say it doesn't matter at Duke, but where it feels like, hey, there's 10,000 here watching me. This at bat really does matter, or whatever that
Let me
may
tell you
look
why you're
like.
not thinking in the wrong mindset. We had a guy, you might have heard of him, by the name of Paul Skeens, come on here, and he said, playing at Air Force where nobody cared, and playing in that conference where nobody cared, and they got to play that series at Alex Box. And like you were saying, when you play in front of 12, 13,000 people and you see the fans are engaged, he may have, what, Daniel? He said it 4 or 5 different times on that show. He said I couldn't imagine myself not playing somewhere like this after being there. Because he was at a school, to your point, he was saying the same thing, 400 or 500 people tops. And so you do want to go somewhere significant and where it matters. And you got to see that with some of the bigger ACC schools, but in the SEC, every school's like that. I mean, every road environment's going to be hostile. The crowds are going to be big, and you got to experience that with Ole Miss. But I do, before we move on to the decision to go to Tennessee, I mentioned a couple of them. First, Ole Miss is the only team that I know of that I've seen that does that daytime game where all the schools in the state get to come watch y'all play. And the fact that you had a big day that day, how much fun was it playing in front of a stadium full of kids who were getting to miss school to come watch Ole Miss play baseball?
No, it's super cool. I remember. I mean, maybe I wasn't doing the same thing that they were doing, but I remember being the little kid in the stands and being, those kids in the stands think you're their superhero. You're out there. You might as well have a cape on. So, just doing anything I could while I was on the field, before the game, during the game, after the game, to just engage with the little kids, take pictures with them. It was a really cool moment. I definitely think that's a tradition they should keep doing, because it was special for me as a player, and I know those kids definitely enjoyed it. But it's kind of what you put into it,
Yeah, well,
Uh,
I got to shout you out for your character because I always saw you interacting and signing autographs. And one of the cool things about Ole Miss that a lot of schools don't do is when they let the fans down on the field. And Daniel, man, he could have a line, deep. I mean, he had games where he hit 3 bombs, against South Carolina. So every kid's going to want his autograph. And the line would be long, and man, he would smile and sign every autograph and take pictures. And he'd even do it for old man like me when I was in line. So I love seeing that he embraced that because, like you said, you were that kid once, and
That's how you do exactly what we talk about. That's how you grow the game.
exactly, and I love it because I think about a guy like Blake Burke. He actually, when we were in Hoover, all the other guys had left, and he was still hitting everybody in line. And I was with his mom, Natalie Burke, and Daniel. I think I told you this story, but Andrew, she said he got big leagued by Jock Peterson one time at a game, and so he said that he was never going to do that to a kid because he remember how he felt that day. And so I actually shout out Jock Peterson for making sure Blake Burke basically signs every kid's autograph for the future. But I love that you do that, man, and take care of the kids. But you, like I said, you had a blast. You did the best you could at Ole Miss. And obviously you made it to where you were coveted by every school when you hit the portal. I talked to you personally. I managed to keep it under wraps when you told me, it was down to Tennessee and Florida. If you had chosen Florida, I would have hated you forever. So luckily you chose Tennessee. But what was it about Tennessee? Obviously, they did just win a national championship, but they are getting new facilities. But I know this, before you even answer me, every guy that tells me they visit there, we go back to the Billy Amick episode. He says it sounds cliche, but when you go there, it feels like family. Was that the case for you?
yeah, you know what? I would say yes, but it's just different. Family, sure, you can. Everyone says, "Oh, we're family. Oh, we're family." It's just different here. I don't really know if there's enough words I can say that would give it justice for the culture that they create here. The one thing I would say, and actually, let's backtrack real quick. You're talking about Florida. Shout out Florida. They are an
No,
amazing.
don't do it.
Yeah, no,
No,
I have
we
to.
we we did our one thing. And I made sure I was not available for that episode. I said I would never interview a Florida baseball player on here. I have stuck solid. We had Colby Shelton on. I was not here for it. I won't do it. We don't like Florida here. And so, had you chosen Florida, I'm a huge fan of yours. I would have fallen off, man. I'd be like, I don't even know who Fish is.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, you're right. No, they're a good program, man. There's a reason why
No,
they're in Omaha back-to-back years.
no, for sure. I think Soley is a great coach, and like him, hate him, whatever people do. I mean, I got nothing to respect for him and that staff over there. They got a bunch of dudes over there, and I actually think whether people want to say A&M, Tennessee, this, that, the other, I think the team to beat this year is going to be Florida. They're going to be really, really good. They got a lot of dudes there, and I think big sleeper pick for me. A lot of people are sleeping on him, Brody Donay. I think that's going to be a difference maker for them. I think he's a really good dude, really projectable, and I think it clicks this year. And I think he's one of the top picks in the draft this year. That could just be my take, but that's my
Well,
guy. And
I'm gonna tell you something ahead of time, Andrew. I talk about I don't like Florida. Let me tell you something. Your fan base that's gonna be listening to this show, they really don't like Florida. So I don't know that I would spend too much time hyping them up. But I'm gonna dispute you real quick because I'm very good at picking when it comes to college baseball. I do it at a very high clip, and I'm gonna tell you right now that there are only 4 that can win the national championship out of the whole field. And before you say it's college baseball and anybody can win, go check the off the bench resume.
Andrew, maximize your screen because his head's not gonna fit in that window unless you do.
All we do is pick right on this show. And I'm going to tell you right now, A&M, LSU, Tennessee, Arkansas. I will not entertain anyone else. And is on paper, I understand it's on paper, but with what Texas A&M brought back with that lineup and the fact that our guest tomorrow night, Ryan Prager, decided to stay with what Tennessee and LSU did in the portal and had for recruiting classes. And then Arkansas did what they always do. The question is, can they actually, maximize and do it with it? But those are the 4 teams. But let's talk about Tennessee because you are there. A lot of pieces left, man. But Tony V doing what Tony V does, bringing in a lot of guys. We just had Tanner Franklin on not too long ago. We got a few more guys coming up. We got Kylan coming up. So reloads, does what he does. You have, big time guys like a Hunter Inslee coming back to help lead the team. But for you, how excited are you? And is there pressure? Is it just excitement with the idea that Tennessee is a team that perennially makes it to Omaha, or is there pressure when you come to a team that just won a national championship because now you have this expectation level?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's pressure, but I would say the words I would want to use, I guess, are they hold us to a very high standard over here. So there is nothing accepted less than their standard. So there's so much more detail I could go into with that, but just the long story short, they hold a very high standard over here, and now from an outsider, everyone wondering, how did they do this? Where they develop these monster years every year, back to back to back, and they have 5, 10 guys get drafted at a respectable, spot each year. How do they do it? Now that I'm here, I understand why and how they do it.
Well, I'll tell you a very easy, simple answer. There's obviously, like you said, a lot of reasons, but it's been the availability or the ability to maintain and keep the assistant coaches there because Josh Elander could be a head coach anywhere. Frank Anderson is one of the best, if not the best in the business. And so the fact that Tony V, who I think is personally the best coach, and then he has probably the 2 best assistant coaches. So you're telling me you got the best coaching staff. And then, you talk about the guys that are coming in and everything. And then, your athletic director is fully buying in and getting all the new stuff added into the facility, the very things that we started talking about when we were talking about Ole Miss. I mean, what's not to love about what Tennessee's doing? But I got to ask you, when it comes to Tony Vitello, a lot of people get starstruck or intimidated, whatever way you look at it. When you first got to sit down and meet with him, what was it like for you?
Yeah, I would say it was definitely very different than with a lot of other coaches. Um, he doesn't sugarcoat anything. He's gonna tell you exactly how it is. And I think one thing that for myself is you see him talk very highly of his guys. He has their back. He's a very fiery coach. He's not afraid to get thrown out of the game if that's what where it takes you. But that's the 5% everyone sees on the field or hears in the press conference or whatever that may be. I would say what we're developing here as a culture and the standards that they hold, when guys make it through the fall and they get into the spring, they earn that privilege of having a coach like Coach Vitello have their back. I would say there's maybe between 5 to 10 to 12 different guys that come around here that you guys might not even hear their name before that make these huge impacts on these guys and these players. Truly you guys only see 5%, the 5% that's streamed on ESPN Plus or whatever that may be. There's so much that goes behind the scenes that, you can just tell that why this place is different and playing for Tony V is special.
Well, I've gotten to see quite a few things and my favorite got to go to the practices in Omaha when it was Texas A&M and Tennessee for the championship, and got to watch the practice. And I've told Daniel about this before. You can see it in when you're actually allowed to be there. Just pregame, the way Tony does stuff, but the way he's wired and the way he works. You see him involved in every single drill, and the way the practices ran is like a well-oiled machine. We actually made a joke that, were surprised that the dog pile did not happen when they won the national championship, because that should have been a part of their practice, because everything else that they do. And we said they obviously should have done it also because Texas A&M comes in after them. But I watched Texas A&M do their practice right after, and it was night and day from the way Tennessee and the way it looked. And it all starts with the way Tony runs it. But the other part, that, to your point about the things that he's doing, you'll see him often walking around with guys with his arm around their shoulder talking to them. Well, we've had the guys come on and talk about what that is, and he's talking to them about things that aren't even baseball related. He's constantly checking in on their mental health, checking on how things are going with their family, academics. And that's why, like you said, the guy will do anything for him. And so I would want to go play for him undoubtedly. And, the guys that you got, Hunter Inslee, man, I can't wait for you to get to know him better. That's one of my favorite guys in all of sports, a multi-time guest here, and somebody that I even went and saw his championship parade a couple hours north from here. So you're going to get acclimated with those guys. With that being said, has fall practice started?
Not official full team practice. As you can imagine, it's super competitive. We got almost 60 guys over here on the team, so you can't carry that many. So it's very, very competitive. A bunch of guys coming in and out all day long. Obviously, there's certain times of the day that are required, but if you really want to play at the highest level and you want to win at a very high rate, you got to put the time in. So,
well, I imagine you're putting a lot of time in not just obviously in the cages, but the weight room right now.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. These guys over here getting after it, pushing the limits. But again, the words I guess I want to keep going back to is they hold a very high standard. There's nothing but 110% given here every single day. I obviously, I think I work hard. I think I have a hard work ethic. I think I care a lot. Sometimes there's like a little reality check when you walk into the stadium here, because you're not only getting pushed to your limits, but you're getting pushed to your limits with 55, 60 other kids at your side that are doing the same thing, and they're getting through it too. So, they're conditioning their guys to be in the best shape possible. And I think they have really good resources around here as well. Whether it be a nutritionist or, academically, they help you a lot. Everyone else. So.
Daniel, before you get started on the next section, I sent a tweet out, and it actually started with my wife. My wife said that he kind of reminds her of Jimmy Fallon. So I sent a tweet to Brian Fischer, Andrew's dad, and I said, "Are you sure that he's yours? Because rumor on the street is he kind of looks like Jimmy Fallon." And I now have the Tennessee fan base saying that he definitely could be Jimmy Fallon's kid. What do you think, Daniel?
He's got it. He's got it. I'd have to see the hair flow and see what it looks like, but with the hat on, and the smile,
it's not crazy. We're trying to get it going right now.
Yeah.
You're in the right spot.
Thing. Yeah, flow's an important thing in Tennessee for sure.
So you talked about having a lot of talent coming in. There's 60 guys. Obviously, you can't carry 60 guys going into the spring, but did your time in the Cape with the Brewster Whitecaps, was that something that is going to help prepare you for the gauntlet that you got to go through to make it past this fall onslaught, so to speak?
Yeah, 100%. I think the Cape was one of the best experience I could have had. I met amazing people. I think that's one of the biggest thing is the connections I made while I was there. Obviously you get your standard. You're playing on, D level fields, that are not as good as even a high school field near me. Trying to field ground balls on that, and you're trying to pick it out of the dirt or whatever in front of 30 pro teams behind the dugouts. That in itself is going to develop you in its own ways. But the connections I've made in the Cape, it was unbelievable. I can name you right now 15 guys that I didn't know before that I would call up right now and be able to talk to them for an hour and catch up with them, invite them to come see me in Knoxville, and it'd be like we've known each other for 10 years. So definitely is something going out there to Cape. That was really cool. Really, really cool experience.
We've discussed this in detail on this podcast that you guys will never know what it's like to take bad hops. So I don't it's funny, and I don't have a lot of sympathy for you when you tell me, oh, you had to play on a field where you had some bad hop. I mean, get out of here with that. Y'all
No,
don't
see,
know.
I don't know, Daniel.
Yeah,
Man, we've seen the video of these fields, man. They're pretty rough. But I say it like this: they're
those were
now
that was every field.
now it
Like
should be
every
easy for
field
him now because it's
was.
not going to ever be like that.
Yeah, I mean, now you get to relax and get those smooth hops, those easy picks. What's the worst you got to worry about? Some top spin on the ball or something? I mean, come
But
on.
it is important. It is important that he's sharp because when you look at some of the guys, like you talk about, and Antigua might have the best glove in the whole SEC, and you obviously got Kylan coming in shortstop. You got Dean Curley, who was playing short, who's probably going to be battling Andrew over there for third. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, I can go ahead and say this with the utmost confidence, Daniel. The best infield is Tennessee because they got too many guys, and so that battle is going to be real.
Oh, depth is great, but it just sucks because only 9 can play. So it's almost like, well, the good is that, well, if there's anybody that gets hurt, anything that happens, you know that you've got a replacement, but you do know at some point, somebody's going to be left out. And
But if you rotate, the good news is that the guys that I'm mentioning, him and Curly and Colin, they all can rake. So if you rotate one at a DH, you're going to be just fine.
right, but I mean, that's what I was going to get to, is that Tony does a great job of having too many guys. I think he just figures
One
out
thing
a
I would
way for
say that
everyone to
I'm
have a role.
noticing, one thing I would say that I noticed since I've been here too is there's a lot of guys right now that you wouldn't even know their name, that if you watched us practice, you'd be like, that kid's gonna hit 20 homers this year.
Mm.
So there are guys right now on our roster that, like, I don't even know if I even want to mention them yet.
Yeah.
That
Well, that was
they're
what was
here.
fun. I was gonna say that was what was funny about Antigua, right? Nobody knew who he was. He didn't get much time on the field, and then when he did, people realized that that's what I was saying. The best defensive player was actually the backup. It was just about would he be able to find the ability, to hit. But it's like that just kind of speaks to your point. People didn't even know that guy was back there and that he had that elite level glove because they had just hadn't seen him yet.
Right. Yeah, we probably have, no joke, 9 full guys that you could replace with the 9 starters that'll end up starting on game 1 that will probably win over 15 games alone in the SEC themselves if our first 9 weren't there and you played our back 9.
That's why that's how you get your first 9 to be an elite level, is because the people behind them are pushing them hard.
Yeah, there is no one here that is very content with where their position is. Everyone is battling. It doesn't matter if you're, Keelan, one of the top prospects in the country coming in, or if you're a junior college transfer in, or you're a freshman. Everyone here is competing a lot and often.
Yeah, and I look forward to it, Dave. I'll tell you what, I will be at some fall inter squads because you know what I want to see, Daniel. I'm ready to see Nate Snead against Andrew Fischer. Sign me up.
Hey, I'm ready. I actually talked to him today, and he's yet to agree to it, but he said he's gonna think about it. He has a Tennessee hoodie I want. I said, let's make a deal. If we match up, I get a hit or something, you strike me out, we'll do some sort of
That's
exchange.
best on best. I love
There
that.
you go.
Let's get something on the line.
There we go. All right, Andrew, let's get to some football, man. I'm going to give you a matchup. You tell me who you would take this weekend. Arkansas, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's 16th in the country. Both teams are 1-0. Who you got? Arkansas.
Where are they playing at?
They're playing in Stillwater, so they're playing at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, they're the favorite.
I'm going Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Jim, who would you take?
Do I like to root for Arkansas in anything?
No.
Okay, then Oklahoma State.
Is this one of those games where we go, oh yeah, Oklahoma State should win, and then they get routed?
We've been burned by Oklahoma State probably more than any other team, but I joked and I said that about Arkansas, but I need to look at it from a different perspective, Daniel. LSU, every game they have going forward needs to be more valuable. So Arkansas beating a ranked team on the road only ups their status for when LSU beats Arkansas. So actually, give me Arkansas.
You need them. You need them. All right, Andrew. What about Iowa State, unranked, going to Iowa, ranked 21?
Only a 2-point spread though, so they feel good about this rivalry matchup.
It's
I don't know anything about Iowa State, but I think Iowa smokes them out of the water.
They wave at the kids at Iowa, Daniel. They got a top 5 tradition. You know, how do you pick against Iowa at home?
I mean, Iowa's going to win, but it's going to be a barn burner, like a 9-3 game.
I think Iowa
gonna
wins
be
by
ugly.
20.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they're gonna blow them out.
All right.
This is
game.
the big one, though.
Big game. Texas going to the big house in Michigan. Texas ranked 3rd, feeling themselves, got Arch Manning in for a few series last game. Michigan being, in my opinion, a little bit disrespected, coming in as the defending national champion, and they're ranked 10th. Come on now. So
yeah, give me Michigan.
In the big house, tough place to play. Jim, who would you
give
take?
me Michigan.
I want Michigan as well, but we had to talk about this before the season, Daniel. Texas only has 2 hard games all season, Michigan and Georgia. They literally got dealt the easiest schedule. If they can survive this, you better go ahead and start talking about a world where Texas is going to be in that playoff.
I mean, okay, but if they didn't get in, like, who thinks at the beginning of the season, no matter what their schedule was, that they wouldn't get in?
Probably not many people just because of that schedule, but I'm just saying I think Michigan's going to win. But if Texas can find a way to win at Michigan on the road and solidify their ranking, they can lose that game to Georgia on down the line, and it's not going to mean anything.
I think Michigan's got it. I think they got this.
I'm going to take Andrew's advice with Iowa State, Iowa. I think Michigan's going to blow them out. I think it's going to look more like Georgia Clemson this past weekend, where it wasn't even a contest. So
the next one I don't think is going to be a contest, and it's the road team. Go ahead and say it.
Yeah. So you got your team, Tennessee, traveling to North Carolina State, 2 ranked teams. Tennessee 14.
We're gonna win by 30.
By 30. NC State's going to have to play better than they did.
They looked terrible.
Yeah.
So here's the key, Andrew. When it comes to our guests on this show, they've accomplished everything possible. National championship in every sport, Golden Spikes, #1 overall pick, everything. The only thing we don't have a Heisman. And Dylan Sampson, the Tennessee running back, is the guest of the show. He rushed 12 carries for 124 yards. Obviously didn't even have to play past that. 3 touchdowns. He's going to have another massive game, Daniel. He's going to be talked about in the Heisman hunt. And we're going to potentially be talking about an off-the-bench guest with a Heisman. Therefore, just another accolade of the guests that we've had on, just saying that we have the best dudes on this show.
Let's go. Go, Dylan. Get it. All right. We got to get to this or that. It's a game, Andrew, that everyone plays, so you don't have a choice. You have to play it, and it's sweeping the nation. I'm sure you've heard whispers of it, so we're going to play it. It's very simple.
I didn't take it easy on them, just to be clear.
I give you 2 options. You choose one option or the other. Can't say both. Can't say neither. Go with your gut. Go with your heart. Go with whatever you want to pick, but you got to pick one. Got it? Pretty simple. Jim, this or that. Who's it brought to you by?
Chinook Seedery, and I had to go with Parmesan Pepper, Daniel, because Paul Skeens is on the mound tonight. I call him Parmesan Pepper because they are his favorite flavor. But, whatever your flavor is, 8 flavors, mild to wild. You can eat the nasty dill pickle if that's your thing. Me and Daniel like the barbecue, the cinnamon toast. Mix them together, you get smoking toast. Or, hey, man, I'm hearing a lot of people, Daniel, it ain't me, but that Hatch chili is, man, it's becoming very popular. So, nonetheless, Chinook is killing the game because no matter what, they got a flavor for everyone.
Yep. And while dill pickle is not my flavor of seed, it is a lot of people's flavor of seed, what I'm learning. So,
Ty Floyd was a fun fact, Ty Floyd was chewing on dill pickle seeds when he threw 17 Ks against Florida in the College World Series. So, hey, it's a winning seed too.
Might be something to it. All right, Andrew, here we go. Right out the gate. Coffee or energy drink?
Energy drink.
What are you going with? Are you a rain guy?
Yeah, I'm a rain guy.
All right, all right. Hard tacos or soft shell tacos?
Soft shell.
That's such a disappointment.
Yeah, soft shell. I'm not a big taco guy, but I like my burrito.
That's an even more disappointment. This guy, not a taco guy.
It might not be a New Jersey thing, man. You know.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Jim is in his hat era these days, and he's collecting hats. So he wants to know for minor league baseball, better mascot, the Yard Goats or the Mud Hens?
Probably Mud Hens. I don't know either team.
Well, the Yard Goats, the Tennessee star Chase Dolander pitches for them, and he actually sent me a hat autograph. So I need a Mud Hens, Daniel, if he's saying Mud Hens. But I am getting my Omaha Storm Chasers from John B. Tomorrow, and then this Thursday and Friday when I go to watch Rocket City Trash Pandas hosting the Biloxi Shuckers, Brock Wilkin will have my Shuckers hat. So I have two more to this MILB hat collection because that's what he was talking about. The MILB hats, their mascots are just the craziest thing ever. Their logos are crazy. And so I started a hat collection. Look, I already got all the posters. I already got all the baseballs. It was time for something new, which, by the way, Daniel, that made me think to something. There's a kid. His name is Brennan. He makes a lot of our hype videos. 13 years old, man. Huge Tennessee fan. I sent him a care package, Andrew, and you had given me that autograph ball, and I'd already had the one that I framed, and so I told him I had him a special surprise, and I sent it to him, and anyway, he said, I appreciate you sending me this, and I said, I just want you to know that guy is going to hit 28 home runs this year, so make sure you frame that bad boy.
Yeah, we're going for 30.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, 20 was cool. It happened. It's over with. Now we move forward.
Man, he didn't go 25. He just went straight to the top with 30.
Yeah, I feel like if you don't hit 30, like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
I mean,
what are you doing?
Depends on how many you hit. If you hit 21, that's pretty good.
You got to win the whole thing.
Well, see, what did Simo end up with? 32, I think, something like that, Daniel. So
I think 34.
it was 34. So it was to the point. It's not like he's talking about some unobtainable. It was just done last year by a guy at Tennessee. So, and obviously Simo was ridiculous, but we know the power that Fish has. So I believe in it.
All right, go get it. Go get your 30. While we're on minor league mascots, Trash Panda or Rumble Pony?
Probably Trash Panda. I'm not big on the minor league team.
When you get drafted, you do realize you're gonna have to play for one of these teams, right? You better get involved here.
Yeah.
Daniel, you better have just skipped that other question on accident. Don't you dare duck ask.
I'm not ducking. We were in the theme of minor league baseball, so I just went right to that question.
Okay.
Don't worry.
I need to know the answer to this next one.
Since you are going to be able to be the best advocate for this question, we have to ask, and you may not know it yet, but you probably have a good inclination. Obviously, good-looking uniforms at Tennessee. Smoky grays are a hot commodity, a popular choice. So who has a better-looking uniform? Is it the Tennessee with the smoky gray, or is it that Ole Miss powder blue?
I don't know. Ole Miss powder blues are hated around here. But to be honest with you, I loved wearing them last year, and they fit really well. The guys on the team loved them, and I played well when I wore them. So I like the powders. I haven't yet to wear the smoky grays, and the last time I was on a field and played against someone wearing the smoky grays, I hated them. So I think
you're gonna like the blacks because not only do they win in the blacks, but they're made of a different material. They're real lightweight. But the reason I brought this up is me, Daniel, and Randy once upon a time did. We had a best uniform poll, and it came down to, at the time, Mississippi State had their Sunday blacks, but it came down to three alternates. Mississippi State Sunday Blacks, the Ole Miss Powder Blues, and then the Tennessee Smoky Grays. I believe, Daniel, you chose the Smoky Grays, right? I chose the Ole Miss Powder Blues, and then Randy went with the Mississippi State Blacks. So, ironically, Randy's a Tennessee fan. He did not go with the Grays. It was Daniel. But I think what it really comes down to, Daniel, is they're all three elite, and you can't go wrong.
No.
Yeah, you guys ask me that question again at the end of the season, and I'll let you know how it is.
I'll tell you this about the Grays. They did so well in the black. Daniel was there in Omaha with me. They eliminated the Grays. Tennessee just decided they were winning in blacks. They're just going to keep wearing black.
Yeah.
I mean, if you hit a bomb every time you're wearing Grays, I have a pretty good feeling the Grays are going to be your choice. I mean, it'd be hard not to pick those. I was going to ask you if you're going to have more or less than 25 home runs this year, but it seems like you're shooting for 30. But I will say, in my notes, Jim's undershooting you here, man. He said you're going to hit 28.
That's all right.
I mean, it sounds like I did him wrong or something. I gave Blake Burke a prediction of 25 last year, so I'm having more faith in him than I did Blake.
Well, I mean, hey, Andrew likes proving people wrong. That's all.
Yeah.
All right, luxury swimming pool, or would you rather go to the beach? Pool
beach, 100%.
Beach. All right. Last question, money question. All right. Would you rather be the first pick in the MLB draft, or would you rather win a national championship? Win a national championship. You sure? First pick's about 10 mil.
Yeah, I think winning a national championship is priceless.
If you ask me, I'd put a price on it. And 10 mil is about 10 times more than the asking price.
I don't think you're going to budge him off of it, Daniel. No. He doesn't seem like he's coming off of it. He likes to try to talk people into the money.
I've been in college now for 2 years, and I know what it feels like to lose in Game 3 of a Super and then not even make the postseason. I'm ready to win this thing.
All right. Hey.
The goal is not to just go to Omaha. I'm not going there to just say, hey, I win. I'm going there to win that thing.
If you didn't say anything less, I would question the culture going on now at Tennessee. But
yeah, no, we're winning this.
That's
thing.
the mentality.
I have no doubt in my mind we're taking it home.
Well, and that's the mentality in general. Just because the bar has been set so high by Tony V. 3 out of the last 4 years they go to Omaha. The one team they didn't, they actually had the best team on the freaking planet. Ole Miss won that year, but I was in Oxford when Tennessee absolutely took them to the woodshed. Tennessee is just, Omaha is now a normal thing. Like you said, that is not the goal. The goal is the championship, period.
Yeah, I don't think this team that we have is sure, it's great to have a little bit of luck here or there, but if you look at the talent that this team has and the work ethic, I don't think this team's going to need luck to win this thing. I think we can do it.
Daniel, I told you how great the experience was in Knoxville last year. What are the odds that I can get you? Because you said you would try to make another baseball series this year outside of Omaha. Let's say, because obviously it's going to matter who's there. What if I can get you Florida visiting Tennessee? Are you in?
Florida visiting Tennessee? Oh, God.
Or do you need somebody better in Florida? I just thought you might like that one as a rivalry.
I think that's a good one to be at.
That's a good one. Open up. Here's the problem, Andrew, is like you can probably agree with me here. That means I got to go to Gainesville and spend a weekend.
No. I'm telling you to meet me at Tennessee, Florida at Tennessee. It's going to be electric.
I feel you. That's a long way, bro. That is a long way.
I will pay for the flight. Just meet me there.
Okay. Can you give me a direct flight? I ain't trying to
look. All right. You can bring that up here on the air. You had multiple layovers. That's not my fault. That's all they had. Okay. But notice you didn't have to pay for your flight. You had to pay for your hotel. I don't want to.
You're right. I got.
You got to hang out with Tony V in the hotel, Blake and Scott Burke in the hotel. You had the time of your life. Right. You got to watch 3 walk-offs in a row in the first 3 games of Omaha.
And I got to watch a dude hit the cycle.
Boom.
There we go. All right. Andrew, anything you want to plug or promote before you get out of here?
Nah, it's all good. I appreciate everything.
I want
to plug
Fischer
something.
on Instagram.
Real quick, Daniel. You see the poster on my I got the Drew Beam autograph poster. There are still the Tennessee National Championship posters in stock. Dylan Dreiling, Hunter Inslee, Billy Amick, those guys. So head over to the Athletic Collection. Get those posters while they still have them. And then the 865 Bomb Squad. I got my Christian Moore shirt on. They still got some, apparel in stock. So they'll probably cut you some deals even. Reach out to them, see what they got going. Get the last of that Tennessee championship stock from both of them.
Yep. Supplies are going quick. Not much left because the new season is upon us, and we're not going to harp on the past because the new season brings new challenges, but hopefully the same goal. Andrew, we wish you nothing but the best, man. Hopefully you have a successful, happy, healthy season. And when you guys win it all, you'll come back on and we'll talk about it, man.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
You got it. That's Andrew Fischer, everybody. If you like hearing Andrew's story or you just like hearing us average Joes talk X's and O's, please like and share the podcast on Facebook. Retweet us on X. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. As always, comments, ratings, feedback, thumbs up, hearts, hugs, love. We'll take it all. Jim, who do we got next?
All right, so tomorrow night, me and you got Ryan Prager, but for Pros and Joes, me and Mike have Brock Wilkin, formerly of Wake Forest, now with the Biloxi Shuckers, and we got Billy Amick, who is the reigning national champion from Tennessee. He's with somebody in the Twins organization. I forgot what they're the Mighty something. I don't know. Muscles. That's what it is. Mighty Muscles. Funniest mascot I've ever seen. I just know he's hitting home runs like he normally does.
Let's get it.
All right, guys. Thank you. I'll see you later.
Later, Andrew. This has been the End Off the Bench podcast. As always, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We are out.